When you hear the word matrix, what comes to mind? Some simulation, some shadowy puppet, red pill or blue pill? What if I told you this matrix is not something to escape from, rather to be born through? That this so-called trap is actually a womb. Before we start this video, I would like to introduce myself. Hi, I am Keandre, also known as Key, K-E-I. I am a spiritual analyst, and I speak for the spirit realm. I speak for the cosmic realm. I am a conduit for the higher realms of existence here on Earth that exist around us. Okay. See, we've been told that the idea of a matrix is a prison, that it keeps us trapped, and that we're stuck in a loop. We hear all the time from people to wake up and get out and catch the loop, like it's some kind of trick. But see, the trick is the idea itself is the trick. When we stop reacting and we begin to remember, when we see how the matrix is actually something that's essential to our entire existence, and what we find is something very different, hidden in plain sight. Now, I have some notes written here or typed up here on screen that I'm going to read for you guys. I've done some research to kind of give a little bit more context into what this word, into what the matrix is and what it means. And how we do this is by first looking into the etymology of the word matrix, okay? So, a matrix by definition is something that gives origin or form to something else. A womb, a source, a framework in which something develops. So, the matrix is the Latin root word, which literally means womb or breeding female. Yeah. So, to go a little bit deeper on this, not only is this the Latin root word of the matrix in terms of the word definition, but as everything, there are multiple dimensions, multiple layers to things, including words. And so with this word in particular, matrix, we see that it is not exclusive to the root definition. So to name a few, a matrix also exists in mathematics, biology, culturally, philosophically, all sorts of contexts, okay? Let's begin by studying and looking deeper into the prefix mater, Alright, so the prefix mater stems from the Latin root word mother. This root word is often used when creating words relative to motherhood, such as maternal and matriarch. The suffix trix stems from the Latin origin as the feminine variation or counterpart to the masculine variant, or. So, for example, dominator, dominatrix, all that means is that in the Spanish language, we have the endings are split up into by gender. So we have there's masculine endings and then feminine endings Example, ea and eos, os meaning masculine, and as meaning feminine. So in this context, tricks is the feminine suffix here, and this the feminine context here. So I decided to break it down even further and kind of look into the suffix ix. So we have mater, then we have tricks, and then we have ix. And ix correlates with the number 9. Okay, it literally is 9. And additionally, in numerology, the number 9 is represented by the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new. Okay, so there are a few recurring patterns that we see here. The first being femininity and renewal. Oftentimes, when people think of the matrix, they believe in something that is controlling them, that it's something that they need to escape, that they need to run from. However, when we look at the deeper part of the word, when we begin to break down and really see what this word is actually made of, what are the ingredients to this word, and what it actually means, we begin to see that this word is nothing like that. It's nothing of the fear-mongering ideas and narratives that love to float across the internet to scare us for some reason. We actually see that a matrix is quite transformative and normal. We see that the meaning is quite opposite from all of the fear-mongering concepts that people love to spread around and run with. So one of the major aspects to the word matrix is the feminine, okay? First of all, we discovered that when both pieces of the word mater and tricks are broken down, we are left with feminine and motherhood or mother. Now, why is that? Why would this word matrix have anything to do with femininity or birth or motherhood per se? Why would the theme of femininity and motherhood be attached to a word that fear and worry is attached to? So just going off of my notes here, I say, so let's return back to the Roman numeral breakdown. Okay, so remember how we discovered that the suffix ix is actually representative of the Roman numeral number 9, right? The number 9 has multiple meanings in numerology specifically, but the most relevant one being completion, mastery, and therefore renewal. So when we take a look at numerology, we're mostly focused in this context on the Pythagorean numerology system, which is basically a repeating number sequence between 1 through 9, okay? So 9 being the final number where the sequence or the pattern repeats itself all the way back to 1. In this case, we can see that the number 9 is responsible for the ending of a cycle, or for the completion of a cycle. And therefore, renewal is a given. We're going back to number 1, beginnings, new cycles, new patterns, right? Going back to this fear-mongering idea of the matrix, many people would say that there's a pattern, there's a loop, and to catch the pattern or get out of the loop, or you're stuck in a loop. Well, they are right about one thing. A matrix is a loop, yes. It is a pattern, yes. It is a system, yes. But it is not in the context of an apocalyptic nature, okay? You see, while yes, it is technically correct, we can remove the whole end of the world narrative and insert it through the lens of the number 9, you see a matrix is actually much more related to the Pythagorean numerology system here, where a matrix here, in this case, the pattern is 1 through 9 each and every time. It has nothing to do with fear. This is quite normal. This is simply leveling up. This is simply a stage, normal flow of life. We can think of this pattern, you can, similar to how, similar to when you are first beginning anything. Let's say you start your journey on how to skateboard, right? You're at number 1. You begin to get more comfortable riding the board. You're slowly going up the number ladder there, 1, 2, 3, until finally you get to a point where you feel comfortable enough to try tricks. Boom, you've hit 9. You've closed the end of the beginning stages of the lesson of how to ride a skateboard, and now you're going back to number 1, to where you're now a tier ahead. It's like a tier system, and each tier has a number of levels until you get to the other one. Yeah, so this is similar to how a matrix works, and there's nothing fearful about this. Okay, now cycles are inevitable. Okay, I say all that to say cycles are inevitable, and the entire world is operant upon cycles. So life is an everlasting cycle on repeat. Yeah, and through evolution, we see the most drastic changes that shift over time. This is why they call it this circle of life. And in this 1 through 9 pattern, inevitably relates to the theme of motherhood. Because women who are soon to be mothers go through the exact stages of 1 through 9. From the seed all the way to 9 months in birth. So we see how this kind of, it takes 9 months until the end of a cycle. And then boom, out comes the 1. So aside from that, the original definition of the matrix is womb. So now we can begin to better understand why the original word of matrix refers to as womb, not in just a literal sense, but a metaphorical sense, in a philosophical sense. We see here that life is a matrix, and the matrix is nothing more than a womb, a place for creation. And through this creation is actually a series of processes, of steps that follow the order of 1 through 9 that continuously cycles over and over again, similar to the patterns of the sun and the moon cycling over and over again. Okay, so now we may begin to dig a little bit deeper into what a womb is. We know what a womb is from a biological standpoint, but from a spiritual, philosophical point, what does this mean? And how does this truly connect to what a matrix is, right? In essence, we understand that a womb is a space for manifestation. It's not just a space where a baby arrives, but how it arrives through the manifestation, right? Through an act, with intention, an act of intention, sometimes with non-intention. But either way, there's some sort of intention, there's some sort of doing, there's some sort of idea in mind. So especially when something is planned, that intention is what gives rise to this manifestation, right? You may think of a womb as a garden. reference to a garden. The womb is the entire space where soil and dirt reside for a seed to grow and sprout into a beautiful plant of some sort. Now, doesn't that sound more realistic than the apocalyptic nature of the world's going to end narrative? So why am I telling you all this? What is the point? Key, why, what does this mean? Why should I care? Well, I'll tell you. Well, first of all, you know now that the word matrix is nothing more than a word. It's a label. It's just a word, a term that someone else had come up with after they had discovered the mathematical, the physical, or some philosophical, some area of this pattern, and then they labeled it a matrix. But it is not correlative with the movie and also the fear mongering ideas that float around in the cloud of thought and the space of thought in people's minds. Okay, it's nothing like the apocalypse or Walking Dead. Okay, and or even a shadow government. It's nothing like this. Okay, it is a normal thing that we humans experience and have been experienced since the beginning of time. This pattern is nothing new. It's quite literally what operates. It's quite literally how we operate as a system, as a society, but also internally, as above, so below. Matrices have always been happening behind the scenes, and it's quite literally the reason why things are able to manifest in life. Why we're able to have an idea, we're able to build on this. We're able to take an idea from stage 1, bring it on to stage 2 by maybe writing it out or sketching it, mapping out a blueprint. Stage 3, we gather materials. Stage 4, we either gather a crew or we do it ourselves. Stage 5, we begin the building process. We begin to build that thing brick by brick until we get to stage 9, where it's there, the manifestation is there. But see, the 9 is always going back down to 1, and this is what the 1 is. The 1 is the creation itself. The manifestation are all the numbers in between 1 and 9. So what this means is that we are all living in our own matrices. Yes, we have all been living in our own matrices. We are all operating within this cosmic, grand womb of manifestation called Earth. Earth, yes, is also physically the ground, the Mother Nature, the sun, the moon. But spiritually, it's a womb, it's a cosmic womb as well, where manifestation exists. Mathematically, it's 1 through 9, which is also numerology. So it's all these things at once. See, manifestation is not just an idea. It's manifestation doesn't just exist within us. The reason why we're able to operate on this pattern and why we're able to even discover what a matrix is and the 1 through 9 pattern is because it exists around us. You see, we wouldn't be able to manifest it if manifestation was not inhabitable behind us. If it didn't exist around us. So the planet is one large breeding ground of thoughts, beliefs, and ideas to come forth. Each and every time we share them, it's able to manifest. Think about it. We're not only able to manifest tangible objects, but also things such as friends, other humans, other life forms. We're able to manifest many things because manifestation goes beyond just a womb. The matrix is just a word for a space of manifestation through thoughts and beliefs. It's just a space, and it's a ground. So not only does a womb reside in the physical of biology of a woman, but it also resides in the mind. The mind is a space. It also resides in the heart. So there's a heart. You can say, one could say, there's a heart matrix. There's a mind matrix. There's a womb, or yeah, there's a gut matrix per se. And all of that means is that there's a space where manifestation is possible, and it's always happening through us. And all of these things are connected, which then tie into our frequency. Okay. What I wrote here in my notes is that the planet is one large breeding ground where ideas, thoughts, beliefs, and life may come alive here. It is why we are able to manifest ideas into reality. Because the more that we plant seeds within our cosmic wombs of the mind, and we nourish it with high frequency, meaning we are affirming that this seed is bound to sprout into reality before our eyes, then we inevitably take action toward it. Things begin to align with this idea, which is the process of pregnancy. Something that aligns with us is the process of pregnancy, meaning that whenever there's an idea that I have and there are things that my actions align with it, I'm now pregnant with it. And so I get all the way to, again, the outcome number one, and I've birthed it. So we're constantly floating through 1 through 9, 1 through 9, 1 through 9. We're constantly going through that pattern to just innately. We are innately going through this process of 1 through 9 constantly, no matter what. Each and every waking second, we're always doing this. Yeah, so back to my notes, I say you're going through 1 through 9 over and over. A tree, though reaches its max height, never ceases to grow. A tree replants itself, growing into a community of the same or similar tree. This is how a matrix works. It is just a space for growth, for ideas, for lessons and messages to come through and either grow or decay. It truly depends on us and what we choose. So you see that here, as you can see, a matrix is nothing to be feared. It is a part of life, and it is a part of nature. It is one of the wonderful magical parts of our mere existence that resides beyond the human realm, the realm of material, the realm of the physical. It is powerful, and when you pin yourself against it by fearing it, you choose to plant and grow things that most likely do not align with you, your desires, and your higher self. You see, a matrix is just a space for plantation, for your plants to grow. And whether you have an objective or not, there's something that's always growing. Manifestation is constantly happening day in and day out, whether you are intentful with it or whether or not. So finally, I would like to close this video out by saying it's important I share this information because it is part of my new series called Reconstructing Fear, where I take words, terms, ideas, and I literally deconstruct it and I reframe it so that it's no longer a fear, and instead of something that is keeping you stuck and held back in a certain frequency or vibration, it frees you from it and allows you to elevate, and you're able to grow and thrive through those things. Because listen, this world is always going to be the same. It's going to go by different names. Things are constantly going to shift, but the principles and the ideas will remain the same. What changes is whether it brings you power or not. And there are many, many, many ways in which we are able to take something that is truly powerful and pin it against people to where it actually makes them disempowered. It disempowers them. And so I'm here just to take that back, just to give a different look on these things. So that you're able to live through in your most powerful, most highest state of being as you possibly can. Okay? It is to help restore power back to you, generate health back to you, and reconcile the true meaning of freedom back to all. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys' support, and if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you haven't already, consider liking this video, and just remember, a matrix is a space for beliefs to manifest and grow as high as your frequency and vibration is. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.